Let's talk religion for a second. In my prior video, I talked about moral relativism and how it's very hard to objectively judge the world because you're a product of your upbringing. I mentioned the idea that if a Christian was raised in a non-Christian race, in a place where it was only tribalism, or in the past where they were not exposed to Christianity, they wouldn't be a Christian. They would be whatever the religion is of the time. And they would think that that religion is correct. And this is true across humanity, right? This is why there are dominant religions that come into and fade out of fashion. So then the question became, well, if that's the case, how can you push for the assuredness or the certainty of your current faith? How do you know that what you believe now is true just because you believe it? Because if you were raised in any other place, any other time, you'd believe that thing. If you're never exposed to your religion that you believe, whatever that is, if it didn't exist at your time, you would be believing something different. Now, obviously there's talk of revelation and all of this sort of stuff, but that's a real sticking point for me. Now, let's just backtrack a bit. My journey growing up, my dad's side was Greek Orthodox religious Christians, right? Now, I was never quite into it, and for a stage, I got very atheistic. I didn't believe anything. But then I realized I didn't give the concept of religion enough of a try. I didn't sort of try to actually do the prayers. I looked at the logical side of it and was like, don't buy it. No religion suited. But then I started stepping back and go, okay, well, what would it actually take for me to believe? Either in Christian God or the Muslim God or the Jewish God or the Hindu gods, any God. What would it take for me to believe in God? And I realized, well, the cliche, the miracle. What sort of miracle would it take for me? But then I realized the answer to this was, well, a miracle by definition has to be outside the laws of the physical laws. But if a true atheist saw a miracle, they would then say, okay, well, science hasn't explained that yet. So there's, in effect, zero ways to show enough evidence to someone that's an atheist to make them believe. So in that sense, I realized that just as some religious people are dogmatically, and nothing you can say to them will convince them otherwise, so are some atheists. There's nothing you could show them that would convince them. And that sort of thought process put me on this search. And I started looking across the different religions. I'm like, okay, they all believe different things. Now, if you're religious and you believe one God, you disbelieve the 999 others, right? But the person believing over here will disbelieve your God with the other gods. So everyone will say that their beliefs are the right ones and everyone else is the wrong ones. They all can't be right. And it's either one group is right or no groups are right. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem to be the right way to look in the specifics. But then I looked across generalities. What do religions have in common? What are their practices? What do the people do that brings them the solace? Because they might be praying to a particular God and getting some benefit. But given what I've just discussed, it seems to be potentially that the practices themselves are what's causing the benefits and the connection. What do you get from being religious? You get cultural acceptance. You get a social group and society, right? The church group and that sort of stuff. You get hope. I once said to my partner, I'm like, I wish I could be religious because in those dark times, I would have something to fall back on. That seems like a very useful thing to have. And yes, it's a little bit of philosophical suicide, just convincing yourself so you literally don't kill yourself. But it's a saving thought. If you believe someone's out there looking over you, now I'm saying someone, some God, whatever version, if you believe something's there that's always got your back, no matter what happens in this physical world, something's there for you, that belief could literally save your life because it would give you the hope to push on. That's one of the benefits. What else does it give you? What else are the commonalities across religions? A lot of the religions have mindfulness practices, and this takes the form of many different things, but reciting prayers, using mala beads, the beads that they use, and like that's across all the different religions. It has scriptural documentation. It has this constant feeling of, connecting to and being with God. This feeling of love in the heart. So then I looked across all of those practices and I'm like, okay, let's explore that concept. Let's go down and go, okay, I'll try the mindfulness practices. I'll try the mala beads. I'll try the loving kindness. I'll try the mindfulness. I'll try the scripture. I tried all of the different stuff. And what I found was that the act of doing those practices, no matter what religious practices they were, go through the motions of the prayer, the act of focusing on that, the act of being in the moment, that helped me to connect to something. Now, did I connect to God? Did I connect to the present moment? Did I connect to my true self? I don't know, but I felt something in the sense that I felt, and I do feel, a sense of peace come over me. Now, if I was indoctrinated down a particular religion, that peace might be prescribed to the religion that I believed. But because I've sort of gone through this thing of just eliminating these choices, I'm like, okay, well, there's something that I'm connecting to. And this is sort of like that searcher's mentality. I've read a lot of books on Eastern religions, on meditation and all that sort of stuff. And there's this whole concept of this search. You're looking for religious or spiritual guidance or connection or, something beyond. And the specifics of that religion, for me, it's hard to sort of place, because I see the fallacies of humans. There's so many stories of priests and gurus and all of these sort of stuff acting misconduct, sexual abuse or abuses of power or corruption or starting cults, all that sort of stuff. People are flawed. But could it be potentially that those flawed people across all of the different religions are nonetheless pointing to something that could be beneficial? It's like the hand pointing to the moon. It's like, hey, yeah, we're flawed humans. Yeah, we're not getting it right, but there's something here that you can benefit from. So with this in mind, I started practicing meditation and other things like that daily. And I found that the inner peace and the calm really did help. Do I put this to a spiritual practice? I'm not sure. I'm going down this path of self-indoctrination using the concept of abundance. The idea being that I will state to myself like a mantra the word abundance, not just for money, but for life, for fun, for enjoyment, for family, for health, as a concept. And then what I realized was I would start seeing opportunities in my life. And then the word abundance pops up and I take that opportunity. And then that happens again, I take that opportunity. I take that opportunity. I try. And all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but within a couple of years now, my life is completely different and I'm feeling so much better than I was. And, I'm found work that I like and I'm getting stronger and I'm feeling abundant. And that made me think of this. There's a Jesus quote that sort of talks about, Jesus helps those who help themselves, or God helps those who help themselves. And that's mirrored across a variety of different religions, right? And in the past, I would be like, okay, if God helps those who help themselves, why do we need the God? Why don't we just help ourselves? But then it comes back to that hope thing. It's like, if I'm there and I'm like, okay, this thing, this entity, this God has got my back, and I take action towards it, and he's going to help me. That gives me the hope and the confidence to go forward. Should I ask for the raise? Should I say yes to that opportunity, despite the fear? I see the fear, I think abundance, or other people think God. And they're like, yeah, I can do this. Is that spiritual? Is that religious? Oh, it's getting a bit tricky now, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's down that spiritual path or if that's down the self-indoctrination path. But here's the final thing that I've discovered. I don't really care. I don't care if what I'm looking to is like a physical, nothing spiritual, there's nothing exists, but I'm just tricking myself down the path of abundance, or if I'm tapping into the God path. Because if I'm tapping into the God path, things will reveal itself more so, and I'll go down there anyway. I can't force it. Fine. I just keep going as I'm doing. Or if I'm going down this path and I'm tricking myself, but I'm getting the results and I'm feeling good, that seems like a path to follow. I just keep doing what I'm doing. So now I'm left, okay, I'll just keep doing the practices. I'll keep exploring, I keep searching, I keep listening, I keep meditating, I keep reading, I keep doing all of these things, I keep being mindful. The result's going to be the same. I'm almost at a stage where the answer doesn't matter. Nothing I do can sway the reality of the universe. If there is a God, if there isn't God, anything like that, nothing I can do can sway that, right? My belief in a God doesn't cause the God to exist or not exist. If it exists, it exists. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But my actions can move me towards a path of abundance. Something to consider. I'm going to be releasing a bit of knowledge video every day. So if you like what I'm doing here, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Cheers.